At Team Toyota, they've been selling and servicing new and used Toyotas in your community for over 50 years, and you can reserve your next new Toyota with them today. You'll get a realistic timeline, and even in this crazy market, they won't charge you over MSRP. Or don't wait at all. With over 75 certified Toyotas, including a bunch of RAV4 and Highlanders, you can drive one home today. And you can always trust them to maintain your current vehicle. Their service and collision centers are high-tech, comfortable, and will save you time and money. Team Toyota can help you go anywhere you want, but they'll always be your hometown team. Just visit teamtoyota.net and choose from 3 locations in Langhorne, Glen Mills, or Princeton. Hey folks, welcome to the Phillies Talk podcast presented by Team Toyota. I'm Corey Seidman here, wrapping up at Citizens Bank Park after the Phillies' 9-6 loss to the Mets on Wednesday. And if you hear a little noise in the background, it's the event staff here in Philadelphia cleaning up Citizens Bank Park after a 6-game homestand. And there's a lot to talk about from Wednesday's game. Another eventful contest between the Phillies and Mets that saw the Phillies hit 3 Mets batters, and Gene Segura then got plunked by a pitch on the wrist. Segura's doing okay. We'll talk a little bit about him later. But the Phillies dropped this game 9-6 to Max Scherzer and the Mets, and they had Max Scherzer on the ropes early in this game. And the inability to cash in against Scherzer in the first inning after Scherzer uncharacteristically walked the bases loaded was really the difference in this game. It was the first time since 2017, September of 2017, that Scherzer had walked 3 in an inning. And it was setting the Phillies up for some success with Gene Segura due up with the bases loaded. Segura has been by far the best Philly against Scherzer lifetime, 8 for 25, a .320 hitter compared to the rest of active Phillies, who are 16 for 123 against Scherzer entering Wednesday's game. But the Phillies couldn't push any across in that first inning. They could only cash in for 1 run in the 4th inning when they had another opportunity. And if they capitalize on those early chances, perhaps this is a different game. It might not have mattered, though, because Pete Alonso especially went crazy in the middle innings of Wednesday's game. The Mets scored all 8 of their 9 runs between the 3rd and 6th innings. Alonso drove in 5 runs during that time with 2 doubles and a home run. So a rough end to this series against the Mets for the Phillies. On a positive note, the Phillies offense did wake up late in this game. The Phillies scored 2 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, 1 in the 9th. Bryce Harper finally getting off the schneid with his first home run of the season in the 9th inning off of Edwin Diaz, a solo shot to left field. Harper earlier in the game missed a home run to left field by a few feet. Would have been one of those Citizens Bank Park home runs that just barely gets over the wall and left, but just didn't travel the necessary few feet. Joe Girardi said after the game that the Phillies had a chance in that first inning to perhaps even knock Max Scherzer out of the game because Scherzer's pitch count was high, the bases were loaded. He's coming off of an 80-pitch outing in his first start, so you knew he wasn't going to go too deep into this game. And they made Scherzer work through 96 pitches over 5 innings, but they just couldn't capitalize with that one big knock. And Aaron Nola had that one big blow-up inning again. In this game, it was the 4th inning where he hit 2 batters in a row, one of them to force in a run. He just didn't have his command in that inning. Nola went 3 1/3 innings. He allowed 3 runs, 3 hits, 3 walks, struck out 5. He's also allowed 22 home runs in his last 22 starts dating back to last season. This is a constant problem for Aaron Nola, is just being able to avoid that one blow-up inning. He didn't allow a long ball in that 4th frame, but he certainly did not have his good control or command. He was falling behind hitters, which is not what we're used to seeing out of Aaron Nola. And here he is 2 starts into the season with a 6.75 ERA. Overall, the Phillies' rotation has been pretty good through these first 6 games. It has a 3.58 ERA. It still has a sub-1 whip, thanks mostly to how dominant Kyle Gibson was in his first start when he allowed 2 hits over 7 scoreless innings with 10 Ks. Zach Wheeler also pitched well in his first start. The top of the order, however, it hasn't been off to as good of a beginning to the 2022 season. Kyle Schwarber's hitless in his last 18 at-bats with 8 strikeouts over that time. I mentioned that Harper hit that solo home run in the 9th inning, but Schwarber, JT Realmuto, and Harper are a combined 10 for 64 so far this season, hitting just 156. The Phillies have to feel pretty good about the fact that despite that, they are 3-3 on the season. I mean, if I told you a week ago that Schwarber, Realmuto, and Harper out of the top of the lineup were going to be hitting 156 with 1 home run apiece through the first 6 games, you'd probably think the Phillies were closer to like 1-5 or 2-4. So They do escape this first homestand with a 500 record, despite not really firing on all cylinders yet. We asked Joe Girardi after the game Wednesday about Schwarber, and he said, "Look, it's 20, 25 at bats. He's not freaking out. He's not, thinking about a drastic lineup shakeup to this point yet." We also saw Bryant Stott come up with two big knocks against Max Scherzer, an RBI single and a single that he tried to stretch into a double where he was thrown out at second base, but just a really good sign out of the young fella. It's just another example of Bryant Stott not being intimidated by the moment. I mean, there's few tougher customers that you're going to face in this division or any other than Max Scherzer, and Stott acquitted himself nicely. He's hitting 286 here in the early going. The roughest day on Wednesday belonged to Didi Gregorius, who went 0 for 4 and stranded 6 runners, 4 of them in scoring position. He came up in a couple of really big spots, did Didi, one of them in the first inning with the bases loaded, and was unable to cash in. There were some roster moves after the game as well. The Phillies, after the game, optioned Connor Brogdon, the right-handed reliever, and Damon Jones, the lefty, to AAA. Both of them appeared in Wednesday's game. Both allowed 2 runs while recording 2 outs. And Brogdon, in particular, just hasn't looked right really since the start of spring training. The velocity was down early in camp, and he hasn't looked too effective here in the early goings. The Phils made those 2 roster moves, and they reinstated right-handed reliever James Norwood from the bereavement list. Norwood was acquired from the Padres on March 30th, but has not appeared in a game yet with the Phillies. So he's back, and there will be another corresponding roster move to come on Thursday. It will almost certainly be another pitcher as the Phillies begin that 4-game series in Miami. Prior to the game Wednesday, there was some news that Corey Knebel, the Phillies closer, was reinstated from the COVID injured list a day after being placed on the COVID IL. He never tested positive. The Phillies thought that he had the flu. He had flu-like symptoms. He was not in the bullpen Monday, Knebel, but he was placed on that COVID IL Tuesday, and the corresponding move that day was selecting the contract of left-handed reliever Jeff Singer, a local guy. Good story, cool story. I'm sure you heard about it. Singer is a South Jersey native. He pitched at Rutgers Camden and at Monmouth. He worked at a car dealership in Northeast Philly trying to make ends meet while trying to live out his baseball dream. And here at 28 years old, on Tuesday, was called up by his hometown team. He was in the bullpen. He didn't appear in the game, and he was designated for assignment on Wednesday. But Singer will always be able to say that for at least that one day, he was a big leaguer, and he still has a chance to make an impact, whether he gets claimed by another team or eventually makes it back here with the Phillies. So now the Phils head to Miami for a 4-game series. The Marlins have actually given the Phillies more problems over the last 3 seasons than any NL East team. The Phillies are 500 or better against each of the other 3 teams in the division, the Mets, Braves, and Nationals, but they're 6 games under at 21 and 27 against the Miami Marlins. And the first game's not going to be easy. Sandy Alcantara on the hill for the Marlins, one of the most underrated pitchers in baseball, guy who has free and easy high 90s velocity, the way that we're used to seeing from Zach Wheeler. Sandy Alcantara goes deep into games. He's a workhorse, works fast. He is definitely the kind of pitcher that you enjoy watching, even if he doesn't pitch for the team that you cover or the team that you're a fan of or whatever. So it'll be Sandy Alcantara going for the Marlins in Game 1. Pablo Lopez in Game 2, who's another pretty good pitcher. Trevor Rogers in Game 3. Eliezer Hernandez in Game 4. The Phillies will counter with Eflin, Gibson, Suarez, and Zach Wheeler. Aaron Nola, the lone Phillies pitcher, not going in that series. So that first game is 6:40 p.m. on Thursday between the Phils and the Marlins. And, this Miami team, it's better. It's better than it was a season ago, 2 years ago. They went out and they signed a couple of power-hitting outfielders, Jorge Soler and Avisail Garcia, who's less of a power hitter, more of like a run producer, a guy who can drive in a bunch of runs out of the 5 or 6 spot in a lineup. If there's a weakness to this Marlins team, it's probably the bullpen, a bunch of unproven relievers, none of them with like real premium, top-tier elite stuff. But the Phillies need to get these bats going. That's going to be the focus in Miami, is can this offense turn things around? Because really, outside of opening day, when the Phillies scored 9 runs and had those extra base hits, and Schwarber hit the leadoff homer, they haven't done much since. 4 runs on Saturday, 1 run Sunday. On Monday, they needed the 5 8th-inning runs to come back. On Tuesday, they were shut out. In fact, there was a stretch there where the Phillies were held scoreless in 28 out of 30 innings, which didn't really seem possible with this boosted offense, but it's early. I mean, half the league is hitting 215 or below. The Phillies, after Tuesday night, were hitting 224, and that ranked 14th in baseball. It ranked in the top half of baseball. That just tells you how far ahead pitchers are over hitters. And that's going to do it for this Phillies Talk podcast. Sorry again about all the background noise. I wanted to get this one done from Citizens Bank Park as I wrap up here following the Phils' 9-6 loss to the Mets. Could have been worse. I mean, Gene Segura seems like he's going to be okay. He's day-to-day. And Segura also said that he did not feel that it was intentional by Mets pitcher Sean Reed-Foley, that he believes that it was a mistake. There was some uncertainty about that because the Phillies had hit 5 Mets players, 3 Wednesday, 2 on Tuesday. Keep in mind, the Mets also got hit 5 times in that opening series against the Nationals, so they lead the majors. They've been hit 10 times, but Segura said that Reed-Foley even apologized through a Phillies teammate to him, so that's good to know. These teams meet again April 29th through May 1st, so maybe in the back of some people's minds that potential animosity may remain. We know there's always fireworks between the Phillies and Mets. We certainly saw them in this 3-game series. So thanks a lot for listening to the Phillies Talk podcast. Jim and I will be back with you on Friday.